everybody, welcome to the show. Today we are doing part 2 of our video series on homeschooling approaches and homeschooling styles. And so in our last video, we went over the school at home approach, the classical approach, and the Charlotte Mason approach. Today we are going to tackle 3 more of the styles. We're going to tackle unit studies, we're going to tackle Waldorf, and we're going to tackle Montessori. We're going to talk about these styles as homeschool styles. So let's get started. The first one we're going to start with today is unit studies. This is a type of homeschooling that has really kind of expanded in the last couple of years. People have really been jumping into unit studies because kids seem to really enjoy them. How unit study homeschooling works is essentially you would pick a topic or a theme for X number of days, weeks, or months, and you would kind of delve into that topic and learn everything you need to learn or want to learn or need to know through that topic. So for example, you might do a month-long unit study on pumpkins in October, and you were going to learn everything about pumpkins. You're going to talk about how pumpkins grow. You're going to talk about math related to pumpkins, circumference and weight and measuring pumpkins and counting pumpkins. You're going to practice spelling pumpkin related words, and you're going to do pumpkin art, and you're going to read pumpkin stories, and everything is going to be related back to your theme. Some people really love this. There are a lot of companies out there now that sell amazing curriculum that is unit study based curriculum, and it is really easy to kind of pick and choose different curriculums and different kind of units to build a homeschool approach that your kids absolutely love. It's engaging, and that you can kind of follow your kids' interests. Some of the benefits of using the unit studies approach, it tends to be highly engaging because it is picking things that kids are interested in. You're picking topics that your child specifically is interested in and using that as a way to really jump into a subject, learn all you need to know, and use their love of it to push their knowledge. It's following their interests. It's very child-led, but it does have that kind of more balance of child-led and also like building a foundation, because parents are helping to kind of teach what they think needs to be taught. So another reason why unit studies are so popular, and I think they're really kind of jumping in popularity right now, is because you can teach one unit to a large number of kids across a large age gap. So for example, perhaps you're going to do a unit study on Africa. There's so much you can do there. So you can talk about the geography, you're going to talk about the capitals and the cities and the different countries that are in Africa. Your younger kids might really delve into the different types of animals, while your older kids are going to go into like the social issues that are happening in Africa. They might delve into the history and apartheid. You're going to have kids who are really into talking about some of the ancient ruins in Egypt. Like there's so many ways that you can just use Africa as, for example, as your kind of starting point, and through what you're doing with your kids, they can all find something that they're madly in love with and just totally engaging regardless of their age. So unit studies have really kind of taken off as something that is great for whole families. So a lot of families are using it kind of as a way to supplement the program. So they might have like a literacy workbook or math workbook, but then for things like social studies, arts, humanities, like all of the rest, unit studies is a great way to go, because you can hit so many age levels while doing one curriculum, which makes it really great for families and very affordable. Some of the downsides, if you're using only unit study based learning, you can have kind of holes in your kids' education because the kids are kind of gearing what they're learning. You do need to be careful to kind of make sure that it's a balanced approach. The other kind of downside is that can get really easily to get overwhelmed with your choices. Like I said, because you're picking a topic, there are literally millions of topics you could pick from, and it can become a little overwhelming for parents to pick a topic, and B, once you're jumping into curriculum, some parents find it a little overwhelming to pick a curriculum and get 2 weeks in and the kids are like, oh, we're over it now, let's move on to something else. So again, it can be a little overwhelming, but like I said, it is growing in popularity and it seems to be something people just are loving right now. next style I'm going to talk about is Waldorf. Waldorf is a growing style. It's been around for a long time. It came around the same time as Charlotte Mason in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Came from an Austrian philosopher. Similar to classical studies, that it has kind of different stages kids move through. It's very based on like kids' psychological ability to function, and so the lessons in the curriculum are based around what they're actually physically and mentally actually able to do. People really like that. Like Charlotte Mason and some other styles, it does have a very heavy arts and nature approach. It's very much a liberal arts program. There's a very high emphasis on art, creativity, humanities. That's a big push, and it's also very heavy into nature studies, nature as a teacher, as well as using natural materials. Those are some key points to the Waldorf style. Another thing to think that's important about Waldorf is that it is very much a mind, body, and spirit type of approach to homeschooling. So there's a lot of talk of meditation and journaling. It's a very holistic, creative, kind of foundational type of homeschooling. It's really kind of growing in popularity. I can say even like 3 or 4 years ago, I wasn't seeing as much Waldorf style materials and not as many people talking about Waldorf style. I find in the last couple of years, it really has started to kind of come up in popularity a little bit more. So again, it's been around for a while, but I think its popularity is kind of taking a surge right now. So another thing that is interesting about the Waldorf approach, they're not big into textbooks. They're not big into, and when they do use them, it's very limited, and it's usually in much higher grades. So the early homeschooling with Waldorf approach is very child-led, very kind of a natural kind of learning. They're also not big into technology, so you probably are going to have a hard time finding anything Waldorf that is like an online Waldorf learning type of situation. Their use of technology is very limited, and that's kind of an approach. Some people are very into screen time, some people are not into screen time, and so if you're not, Waldorf might be a great option for you. Some of the benefits, it is again a very highly creative emphasis in Waldorf schooling. There's a huge emphasis on things like art, music, creative writing, just creativity in general, and people do really like the mind, body, spirit kind of approach, and the fact that it's kind of based in kids' psychology and what they can actually handle. So those are some positive things about Waldorf. Some of the downsides, or what some people might consider downsides, there is a bit of an emphasis on delaying reading. So like 7, 8, 9 is kind of when they start to introduce reading. For some people, that is going to seem really late. And if you're in the public school system, that would be, your kids would be considered incredibly behind if your kids are just starting to read at 8. But is it really necessary to read at 4? Probably not. So really it's up to you. Some people really don't feel comfortable with the delayed reading aspect, but again, something to think about. It can be expensive because one of the emphasis is on natural materials. For example, like natural beeswax crayons, natural papers, using like natural, like it can be expensive to get your hands on these more natural, organic wood toys, things like that. So it can be a little bit expensive. It doesn't have to be. Again, I always believe that a homeschool system can be adjusted to meet any family budget, but that is something to take into consideration. The last style we're going to cover for today is Montessori. Now, I have to say, Montessori is a weird beast in itself, because technically, to be a Montessori teacher, you must go and get a certificate of teaching from a Montessori school. So technically, you cannot have a Montessori homeschool. Technically, legally speaking, you cannot. But a lot of people really love the Montessori style and have taken to embracing it and having it in their homes. So I'm going to talk about it as a homeschool style because I think if we can homeschool our kids without needing a teaching certificate, I can definitely Montessori my kids without needing the Montessori teaching certificate. So the ideas are very transferable. Maria Montessori came up with this idea, again, early 1900s, and it is very much a play-based type of schooling. There's huge emphasis in Montessori style for large blocks of time that are uninterrupted for kids to explore, kids to play, kids to delve into an activity in their fullest and kind of figure out what they're doing with it. Free time is also a very huge part of the Montessori style, giving kids space away from academics to kind of just explore their surroundings, explore different materials and different things in their lives. Nature, again, it's very much about giving kids the space to explore and figure out what they're interested in and letting them explore that to its fullest potential. The Montessori approach is also a big emphasis on independence and tools. So there's a big emphasis on kids learning to do things for themselves and making their world fit them. So having hooks that are at their level so that they can put their coats on and off and hang their coats up. So having a bed that is lower to the ground so that they can more easily get in and out of their beds. Having materials that are kid sized and accessible to them and that are useful to them and not just toys. So there's a big tools versus toys discussion when it comes to Montessori. So for example, scissors are a tool, a stuffed animal is a toy. There's a big emphasis on having kids have tools and being able to use them to their fullest potential and having them fit their lives. So you'll see a lot of families who have smaller size cooking instruments so that the kids can more easily help with cooking, and you'll see Montessori kids tend to really jump into getting involved in what's going on in the house. So they will be cutting things at a very young age. They will be doing things that might seem a little bit young, but in the household. Again, it's about teaching kids independence and having them take responsibility for their independence and providing them the tools to do so and letting them explore the world by using real tools instead of just playing with toys. Montessori is primarily a primary age type of homeschooling. There isn't really much you can do with it past kind of grade 3 or 4. Even we have a Montessori school here in our community and they only go up to grade 3. So it does tend, because of the type of style it does tend to be something that works well for kids who are kind of preschool to kind of grade 3 or 4. After that, you will probably want to transition to another style because it isn't super great for older kids. While it isn't great for kids who are older, it is great for kids who are different. Montessori has kind of been seen as kind of the great holy grail of homeschooling approaches, especially when it comes to kids who have autism, who have learning disabilities, who have physical disabilities, who are gifted. People really seem to find that it really, really helps them. It is a great, because of the kind of balance between structure and play and letting them explore, it tends to be a very popular choice for families who have children who are not typical. And that's great that it really does tend to cater to that. It works really well with neurotypical children as well. Families who have atypical children tend to think it is a great option and really kind of flock towards it. So things to think about. Again, some of the pros to Montessori: it is very child-led, very child-led. It is very heavy in play and very heavy in tactile learning and being very hands-on. So again, great for kids who need the hands-on, kids who need sensory play. Those are huge when it comes to Montessori education. And it is also great if you are a big believer in free time and focus. Those are fantastic. Cons, like I said, it's not great for older kids. Kind of fizzles out after about grade 3, grade 4 in a typical child. Yeah, it's just the way it is. And it can be expensive because you are always looking for child size or child friendly equipment and tools and making the world fit your child. It can be expensive to make those adjustments in your home and provide the proper tools that are child friendly and child size at all times. So it can be expensive, doesn't have to be, but it can be. I hope you guys like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Next video, we're gonna go over unschooling, radical unschooling, and eclectic / relaxed homeschooling. If you guys like this video, make sure you click to subscribe so you get notifications when we post our next video. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And if you are looking for more information on how to start homeschooling, please check out our How to Start Homeschooling playlist. And we also have a great book available for you, How to Start Homeschooling When You Have No Idea Where to Start. And we'll put links for all of that below in the description. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.